how about we get started?
Sure.
And I know um, you've probably heard a lot of what's going on out there. And how are your members um, dealing with the whole change from normal?
You bet. Thanks, Ron, for asking that. I mean, when we look at what normal was, we were running at 110% capacity in the healthcare system. There was no time to even do the caring part of the job. It was a very challenging time for our workforce. This COVID comes in on top of it and puts the fear of a pandemic into that mix. And so our workers, when this whole thing began to evolve and began to become part of what was the new normal for all of us in this, well, globally, I guess today, uh, it was a real eye opener. We had to look at how communication was working and how the ability to deliver your profession was working, and we turned it upside down. We moved mass amounts of our staff got moved into a from home deploy and to administer their work from home. We see a shift of our workers going from being front lines in their specifics, as in dietitians and mental health and all the other folks that health information management teams were being moved out to the front lines to reinforce those units on the front lines of healthcare, trying to navigate this whole thing. I mean, we build hospitals in parking lots, like some crazy things have been happening for us to try and adjust to this. And all of that, our healthcare system still kept running for those that truly needed it the most. We still have people being diagnosed with cancer every day. We still have people having heart attacks every single day. And on top of all of the COVID, we maintained that level of service and professionalism to all of those people that truly needed a healthcare system that worked on the front line.
So, and I heard you mention with regards to the mental health aspect, and you've got mental health team members as part of your membership.
Yes.
Um, how are the members and those are having to deal with this, and then working their 12-hour day or whatever it happens to be on that particular shift, and then having to go home and be really tied to two places, and that's it? How are they dealing with it?
And when you, yeah, it gets even more complicated because those folks, and a majority of the members that we represent are women on the front lines of this COVID crisis, have children at home that require education because there's no schools, there's no childcare left anymore. They used to have the dual role of a parent and secondary to a job out there, and now they're doing a job. They're a parent. They're an educator. It is absolutely as complex as it could possibly get today to navigate this, and they're getting through. These are trained professionals that do this job every day, and unlike any other pandemic that we've seen, this one's truly hitting Alberta in a way that we haven't seen before. We have had other pandemics that have swept across the globe, and they just haven't impacted Alberta in the way that they have in other places. And today, when we see how this is playing out, they are taxed. They are taxed to the bitter end. They were in an environment where the current government threatened to wipe out all of public sector healthcare. They were going to upend this, cut the budgets, run an austerity program that was going to decimate healthcare in this province. And that's the mentality that they were facing as they walked into this pandemic. So tell me how much worse we could possibly make it for these people. And they're still on the front lines today. We have the highest test rates in the country. We are recognized globally for our ability to react and respond to this healthcare crisis, to redeploy our folks into the critical places that are needed to get us through all of this. And it's worked so well in Alberta that they're able to start looking at opening up. Well, tell me what, that's what public sector does today, Ron. That's what the strength of a provincial system does today in this province. The lab workers that are out there that they called non-healthcare workers as a government, they said, you guys are not even healthcare workers because you don't touch patients. Well, they're pumping out 3,500 to 4,000 tests today. They are doing all of the surveillance testing that's allowing us to bring this economy back online. I would caution, maybe it's too soon, but it's not my call to make. But we are starting to open back up again only because our lab is so strong and so able to shift all of those tests that are happening in healthcare. prior to COVID are still happening today. And on top of that, an additional 4,000 tests a day are ongoing to ensure that all of Albertans are safe. It is an unbelievable response to a truly global crisis.
You know, I do have to say, you know, the work that your members do is phenomenal. And I don't know that everybody understands just how much you're talking about. Like, we're not just talking about just the testing. We're not just talking about, you know, anytime that they need new change outs in the rooms, anytime they need somebody moved, somebody else, you know, something has to be transferred from one place to another, as well as, you know, the aides, the attendants, the people we see face to face.
Absolutely,
There's so much going on in the background that, you know, we as the general public don't get the opportunity to see. And, you know, those are in some ways, sometimes those are the guys and gals that I'm kind of worried about.
Ron, when you look at some of the places like our long-term care centers where some of our workers are involved, and I believe some other workers in steel, and there's other workers in many other different unions that are involved. They are truly on the front lines. They have the supports of their union, but in some cases these are non-unionized workers. In some cases they are the most vulnerable workers, and we are placing them in a scenario to care for our most vulnerable, and asking them to do a job that is just unbelievable. And you're right, every move, every action as a patient within a system, every time you meet a dietitian following your diagnosis of a cardiac issue or a renal failure issue, or anytime you have a mental health action where you have to interact with these people, these are all human beings that are out there that are keeping this system going, and they are doing it at the expenses of themselves, of the safety of their families. They are isolating in RVs in their backyard. They are staying away from their families at home. It is absolutely unbelievable the lengths that people are going to ensure the safety of all of Albertans. And we need to recognize that without these people, we would look like somewhere very close to us. The U.S. is in an absolute disaster of a healthcare system, with now reaching over 100,000 fatalities in just the COVID crisis. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. And they're sacrificing their own people for they want to open up the economy is their answer to that. Well, these folks didn't have healthcare before. This thing doesn't discriminate, and it sure as hell is going after a lot of people that we hold near and dear.
Yeah, and you know, on that, you know, I no fault to any of the workers in the U.S. either. I'm not in any
not at all. No.
Shape or form. There's other forces that would be in regards to that. But I know here in at least in Alberta and in Edmonton, with my own personal dealings recently with the hospital system and how things worked and checking in and temperature checks, and I know that's all your people.
You bet.
At the same time, knowing that my mother-in-law was safe because of all of that, because they put in, you know, these people were there when they probably could have said, you know what, no, I'm refusing.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever the reason may be, and it may be protecting their families, as you said. You know, they're sleeping in an RV. But at the same time, they still went to work every day. And I want you to express to your members that from everybody involved at the Edmonton Muse and Rivers and Rails, we appreciate everything that they do for our the most vulnerable, the sick, the kids. They are doing such an amazing job, and I don't want them left out of the picture.
Ron, yeah, within HSAA, we represent 250 different and distinct disciplines. Some of those are directly on the front lines, including our EMS workers, including our respiratory therapists in our lab. There are also hundreds of professions out there who are today redeploying to be on those front lines. And yesterday they were in a job where they were comfortable for a 20-year career or a 10-year career. And today they are saying, okay, what do I need to do to help? And they are redeploying to be on those front lines to ensure all Albertans are safe. And it is an absolute amazing piece for me to sit back here talk with you right now and truly recognize the challenge that they have overcome as healthcare providers and stepped forward as healthcare professionals to protect all Albertans.
And, you know, like I said, it's much appreciated. I've got a bit of a personal fix in there, and I've seen what it does, and I've seen how they respond. I can't say enough about what they've done. I'm hoping this show will show them a little bit of our appreciation, and, you know, again, thank the members on our behalf. We'll make sure that we get this message out to everybody that, you know, it's not just the nurses, they're involved. It's not just the doctors, it's everybody that's involved in the care for all Albertans right now.
I can't even imagine. We're told to stay home. You're facing it straight on. Days, nights, weeks, months. There's fear, not only for yourself, but for those around you. Some can't even hug their own kids. But there's love from the entire world. So thank you, Frontliners. And this is for the fighters, frontliners, those working all-nighters, above and beyonders, getting it doneers, and those up with the sunners. We lost some good ones, we've had some bad luck. Could have been worse if it weren't for you. Blood, sweat, and tears, bruises black and blue. On behalf of the nation, behalf of the world, we'd like to thank you. This is for the fighters, frontliners, those working all-nighters, above and beyonders, getting it doneers, and those up with the sunners. And news and radio for keeping it real. Cheers to the grocers and the 18 wheels. You keep the world spinning, that's the truth. So we'd like to thank you. Another day gone, another start up again. For you I'll stay home, tip my cap, God bless you my friends. This is for the fighters, frontliners, and those working all-nighters, above and beyonders, getting it doneers, and those up with the sunners. News and radio for keeping it real. Cheers to the grocers and the 18 wheels. You keep the world spinning, that's the truth. So we'd like to thank you. We're getting stronger, we're getting wiser. We're gonna win this war that the devil man put us through. You're all Earth's angels, you're willing and able to take a risk for a stranger, so we pray for you. Fighters, frontliners, those working all-nighters, above and beyonders, getting it doneers, and those up with the sunners. News and radio for keeping it real. Cheers to the grocers and the 18 wheels. You keep the world spinning, that's the truth. So we'd like to thank you. So we'd like to thank you. This is for the fighters, frontliners.
you.